So Activision Blizzard announced this week that their shareholders have approved the acquisition by Microsoft. So more than 98% of the shares were in favor of the acquisition deal. The merger has until June 2023 to close and would make Microsoft the world's third largest gaming company, which to me already feels like they should be the third largest. It's kind of bad if they're not. But some in the industry are skeptical that the deal will go ahead. So Bloomberg has reported and detailed that the potential blockage by FTC head Lena Khan, who has a history of advocating for a more forceful approach to reviewing deals, especially by big tech companies. They suggest that the FTC will have a Democratic majority by then, elevating a stalemate that caused inaction on Amazon/MGM merger. Whereas
alleviating, I just want to clarify.
Oh, alleviating. What did I say? Elevating.
Elevating. I'm like, that's the opposite.
Do you know why I got thrown? I got thrown because it says a Democratic majority, but what in? The FTC, or are you saying a Democratic majority
I was just regurgitating whatever Bloomberg article said. So,
because I was like,
did Jason write this?
Oh yeah, I was like thinking Democratic. There's zero chance I'll have a Democratic majority in Congress because I'll lose that for sure. Analyst Michael Pachter places the odds at the FTC lawsuit at 10% and chances of winning the case at 0% due to the difficulty in defining the concentrated market, quote unquote, the merger would cause. Microsoft wouldn't have a massive share in the market, and current antitrust law overlooks so-called freemium business model common in gaming. And then like it has been quite funny, like, you know, friend of the show, not really, but we like him, Richard Hogue of Hogue Law. There's a really good YouTube channel focused on law as regards to media and mostly gaming. Has covered this. It's quite funny because he sort of was pretty aggressive against Jason Schreier, and now Jason Schreier has blocked him on Twitter, and he's
What?
Just today gone back to Jason Schreier because there was a comment from Jason Schreier, quote, where is it? Quote, "Don't let loud fanboys or YouTube pundits mislead you into thinking any of this is inaccurate," end quote. Which, I mean, like, when you go through all the kind of law YouTubers, it's only really Hogue Law talking about this. I don't know who else he could be talking about, you know?
I love this because everyone loves a good spat.
Yeah.
Hogue is just like, what does he say? Like, basically saying that, you know, their analysis should be given equal treatment to someone like Anonymous XXX69420 from Reddit, you know. So, but the thing is, look, obviously, Richard Hogue is a very smart guy.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, if you read the article, it's, you know, we know Bloomberg is very biased in many ways, but you read the article and I didn't get the impression that they were just basically saying, look, you know, like, this is what analysts are saying, you know. They kind of, that's why I included the thing about Michael Pachter, because he's saying the opposite of what some of the other analysts were saying. So I didn't get it that there was that much bias in this article, and he took it like it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
You know?
and it might not be the FTC. That's the thing, because it's also European like influence here, and they can be they've caused more change in this space, much more than the FTC or any of the US regulators. I was really surprised when I looked at the share price. I mean, very simplistically, essentially, it's trading at around $75 at Activision Blizzard shares, whereas the strike price for the merger deal is $95, right? So just very simplistically, if you buy a share today and just say like it was going to be acquired tomorrow, you're making $20 per share, right? Now, it's a year until it closes. So all that Bloomberg's pointing out is the market is pricing there's a risk that this deal won't happen. I don't agree with where Hogue was coming from. He was overplaying the whole inflation element. Inflation's crazy in America, but it's not really like a massive factor in this space that you'd be really focusing on, because it's also not inflation that you analyze. You got to analyze what rates you can get. Like, inflation's higher than the rates now by like a mile. So I think that was really flawed. And to be fair to him, he actually said, this is like lawyer math. So I'm not really like, that good at it. And I'm kind of like, well, I don't think he should really veer into this space because he doesn't know what he's talking about. But the other stuff that he was saying about the FTC, I agree with. But I think it's more like the European angle. And I think that's why the market's pricing in some issues there.
So, man with octopus on the head, what is your in depth analysis of this business situation?
I have absolutely no thoughts on it. If it goes through, it goes through. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I really don't give a shit.
I don't know
That
why.
is my business analysis.
This is Mike who like got so angry with us that we started this show, and then he's like, "I don't have an opinion on anything, and I hate games."
No. I just think when it comes to this business side of it, I don't think there's a reason, for example, why it would even be an issue for it not to pass. Given the statistics that we just talked about, where it only now would become the third biggest, which is weird. I agree. It should probably be much bigger than that, but clearly it's not. They're just adding a few studios to their banner. Is it really something that comes down to antitrust or anything like that? I don't know. It doesn't feel like it. It's not a big enough merger like that for it to be. Dollar-wise, absolutely. It seems absolutely crazy. Probably also because of the number of clients or customers that Activision has that they're going to be gobbling in. But yeah, I think it's fine. I think it'll go through. I don't imagine it's going to fail at this point.
Yeah, I think Microsoft at this point, they've had issues in the past, but I think they've got enough sway to, they will make this happen in some way, form or another. Even if, like often, and I'm horrible when it comes to anything like this level of business, M&A and anything like that. But a lot of the time, the resolution is, well, you divest something, right? So, for instance, obviously King is a very important part, but if the issue is, well, then that's a huge part, then, they would look at, okay, are there any divisions we have that we're currently working on mobile stuff on already in Microsoft, and you divest that, or you do something there. So there's always a way around it. There's always a way. They won't let this be stopped in any way, so.
Yeah. I think the market price is pretty fair because you're talking about $75 to $95 1 year. There's some risk. It's still more than likely to happen. That's what the market's saying. And you've also got Warren Buffett, who's investing massively. I think he owns almost 10% of Activision Blizzard now through his Berkshire Hathaway because he's betting it's going to happen. So he's like, great. Like, I'm paying $75 in 1 year's time. I'm getting $95. I'm getting $20 for, like, that return's insane. So
he needs more money, doesn't he?
No, but he runs an investment firm, so he'd be going against his fiduciary duty. But I just think watch out for Europe. Europe are a bit random, and they can throw spanners in the works to these kind of things. And I think this is like, I think when it got announced, we're all like, what the hell? Like, who's like? It's almost like the next step would be like they're buying Nintendo hostilely. You know what I mean? It's like, what else could it be?
I'd be surprised. I'd be surprised with that one.
I think they would, but there's Japanese rules around how they can't do that.
Exactly, yeah. And I think being such a big competitor in the gaming space, I reckon the FCC would probably go against that.
Maybe.
And interestingly, like there's been some recent, or at least one job listing that indicates Microsoft aren't done in with acquisitions, which we expected. But at the same time, you've got the rumors, which we've talked about in the show in the past, but they've cropped up again of with the whole Warner Brothers Discovery and all that stuff that potentially, because that's a huge merger that's happening. Again, potentially selling off the game development studios, like your NetherRealm studios and things like that. That Microsoft are reportedly one of the interested parties, as you'd expect in that kind of world. So I just wonder if, I have no idea how it works. I imagine that if Microsoft then go and buy a bunch more companies while this thing is still kind of in the process, if that impacts stuff and they're kind of waiting to see how the things go
before they announce anything.
Yeah, not the NetherRealm Studios. Obviously, NetherRealm Studios is a blip in the radar of everything, but Microsoft might have other intentions, and they're just obviously holding off. So who knows? Yeah,
and it feels like a few studios are looking to be acquired, like Ubisoft, like
Platinum.
They're almost desperate to be acquired, right? But I look at Ubisoft and it's like, they're they're so perfectly poised to be acquired because they've got so many devs and people under their employ. They got 20,000. Like Nintendo has 6,000. Like I look at Nintendo's output versus Ubisoft's output. I'm like, that's insane to me that they got 20,000.
So this week, are you also alluding to there were rumors about that this week about Ubisoft acquisition?
Well,
So
not so much the rumors, but just the
fresh rumors
fact that some of the like family are like leaving the business. It's like they're getting to a point where there's like no consistent ownership of that business anymore. So I feel like that's like prime for a change then. So yeah, I know there was some rumors, but I didn't read much about them. It was more just the facts that it like had been changing on the ground there. So
well, they've been a target. I think it was Vivendi were trying to buy them out years ago, and they kind of fought them off. So
but I think that like that's the difference of going, they get bought off by a Microsoft, but maybe you could get a Tencent coming in and buying them. I feel like Tencent and Ubisoft are a good match for some bizarre reason.
They are.
I know
exactly what
disagree.
you mean. Unfortunately, I don't either.
Imagine that, Sweeney. It's like one of your favorite series is owned by Tencent. I think Tencent's third currently, aren't they? So it's like Sony, Nintendo, Tencent, from what I understand, in terms of the biggest gaming companies.
Yep.
Yeah, nuts, man. I can't believe Microsoft is not the third biggest. That's just like insane to me. All right, let's get on to the next story. It's another spicy one. I think, Sweeney, you can take this one away.